When we're not modeling elements and we're simply creating drawings, we add things like dimensions. We might add text notes or section cuts. These are symbols. For example, this sort of symbol signifies that there's a step in a slab, elevations, all of these sorts of things. And this is what's called annotation, and this is how we actually get the information to the contractors. Remember that the model is important, but the model is useless to us if we can't provide all the information that's necessary for the contractors. Now, for various different types of building elements, whether they're slabs or grade beams, or maybe they're drilled piers or caissons, maybe they're columns, maybe they are stairs as well, or whatever they might be. We're going to go through and we're going to show you how we expect each of those building components are supposed to be annotated. We're going to go in a lot of detail and we're going to create a lot of standards that we expect you to follow throughout this training. Now, we generally set our sheets up in a certain way depending on the type of element that we might have. If we have, say, a stair core, we might have something that shows a plan view, a 3D view, and then lots of elevation views. If it's possible, we like to try and use as few views as possible. So for drilled piers, we don't need a 3D view. We don't need elevations. We just put a plan view on. If we have, say, foundation walls, then we might need to put some other elevations on. And if we have any very special areas, one of the things that we need to do is we need to make sure that we have section cuts so that we're providing all of the details that we need to provide for the contractors that we're working with. Also keeping in mind that we have slabs that require a lot of work. Now, one of the things is that when we get into places that are more complicated, we have to provide a lot of detail. In this building, what we've got is we've got a flat slab that steps up to a curb above the slab and then steps back down to a sloping slab for a garage. This is at an apartment complex. So you can see there's a lot of detail here about how these things work. Then we cut a lot of sections so that we can get a lot of detail and really fully understand. And we're even going to have multiple sheets for that same area. So you can see how complicated this might be. Now, lastly, one of the things that we do quite often is we add color to our drawings whenever it might be relevant. See, what happens is there might be a job like this, where we've got a bunch of slabs, or in this case, a bunch of grade beams at the same elevation. They have the same top and bottom elevation. But if we tried to add an elevation tag for every single grade beam, the drawing would get very cluttered and it would become very hard to read. As a result, we try to group things as much as possible, and then from there you can see what we do is we provide things like legends that will give lots of information. We'll even do things like group things together that that all need to come at the same place, same elevation. So for example, these three grade beams might be at a certain elevation, but then they break with these ones. These ones keep stepping up in elevation as the grade or the slope of the ground changes over time. Or not over time, but over distance, over the width of this garage. But what's important is that we're providing all the detail that's required, and we're trying to make it as easy and readable as possible. If we provided information about every single little thing, if it was all redundant information that had already been shared, all that's going to happen is it's going to make it harder for the building contractor to build the building. This is our goal, is to create something that people can use as easily as possible. So don't forget, make sure you go into Trello and say that you've completed watching this video. In the next video, we're going to take a look at keyboard shortcuts and how these are going to save you a lot of time and really increase your efficiency for doing your work.